morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. My name is Boyan Petreski. Go by Bo. Easy to say to remember. Just gonna put the chat here on the bottom. Minimize this stuff here. Alrighty. Let's get that disclaimer going. All right. So as you know, the following video clips demonstrations are for educational and instructional purposes only. Predictive provides these videos purely for the purpose of demonstrating a method of using the product. Users understand that all content used in the video is purely for demonstration purposes only and is not a guide, does not provide any indication or prediction of actual results. As a user, you understand and agree that hypothetical results obtained through the demonstrations do not indicate in any way the results you may receive on using our products. Now that we got all that lingo out of the way, since we are running a bit late, I'm just going to get right to it. So, what's the agenda, right? We got a few things here. We're going to go look at what the market environment has given us. We don't have to review any closed trades because it's been a while. I was moving and now I'm on vacation. So we're going to skip that and we're just going to go right into looking for new opportunities because obviously we don't have any open trades. All right. Without much more further ado, let's go ahead and open up our workspace. Take a look and see what we got going on. I'm going to keep an eye out on the chat as much as I can. Feel free to type anything there. There we are. All righty. I did this whole exercise last night to make sure everything's going to be working smooth this morning. And then, of course, as soon as I get downstairs into their business office, nothing works. But finally was able to get it sorted out. Okay. So now that we're at this screen, and I'm just going to see if I can get this. I don't have it here. Okay. Guess I don't. All right. So what are we going to do here? So we're going to be looking at short-term opportunities primarily. If we don't find any in the U.S. futures, because again, this is kind of like the most active time between, now and I would say an hour from now, we should be looking for these opportunities, mainly because that's when the most volume kicks in. Sometimes, people do decide to just, let them kind of open up and then see where it goes. I prefer to be on the other side where I already got my T1, my safety target hit before the market opens, so that when it opens and it goes my way, I'm just moving my stop along and going with it. All right, so we got a couple of candidates here. So what are we looking for here? We're looking for a near sensible short or near sensible long opportunity, like we have with the Russell RTY. And the reason why I'm not mentioning ES because it's already right on it. So the ATR spread is already in the negative. That means it's already trading above a moving average that we look out for. So let's go ahead and open up that Russell. Now RTY on the 15-minute, we're going to open here. Now, if you're not familiar or this is the first time you're seeing this software basically that we're using today, this is basically Tradewithufos. It is a proprietary technology that we use that is available for TradeStation, TradingView, and MetaTrader 5, along with the fact that we have our own type of community and setup over here. So if you are interested, definitely shoot me an email to that email I mentioned earlier. I'm just going to go ahead and type it in the chat here again. And then, of course, with FX Street, we are doing these presentations, both myself and my colleagues. This should not be on the RTYU21. There we go. All right. The reason why I know it's on the U because if you go to barchart.com, most active futures, it'll tell you what the most active contract is. I know they've rolled over on September now, so there we go. That's just a brief explanation of switching over to these guys. So this is our workspace. We got a few, different type of time frames up here. We got the 2-minute, 233 share bar, 144 tick bar, and we got the 15-minute down below. What we're looking for is a confluence of multiple instruments, kind of giving us the same picture, same notice, same information. So that way we have as many things, kind of stacked in our favor to go ahead and pull a trade. Now, a couple of these things, do matter how they develop. The first one being, and the first one kind of giving us permission to even open this workspace, is this climate window down below. So this climate window down below, it says, hey, it's time to look for short opportunities on the Russell. All right. So just for the sake of argument right here, we are looking for short opportunities, and we are seeing that the moving average, this gray number down here, 231208, right, is actually overlapped within this number here, within this UFO. And I'm just going to blow this up a little bit just so it's easier to see. It's enveloped inside this auto UFO up here. Now, this auto UFO is just giving us a higher concentration of unfilled orders, as opposed to what the chart represents, which is filled orders. So this is giving us where some more potential unfilled orders may be. So in this exact scenario right now, we do have basically permission to go ahead and pull a short at here, 2311.8. All right, that being the more aggressive. Now, as I, hopefully as this trade triggers, or, as it kind of fakes this out here, I'm going to go ahead and explain where the profit target, the first profit target, and the stop loss will be. So there we go. We are in the first trade. The first thing that we got to do, and interestingly enough, only one filled even on sim. So if you did get in, or maybe not, obviously sim fills better, but live usually means it has to take a little bit above for you to get filled, or at least to get a guaranteed fill. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and adjust our stop and our target, because we don't want this to move that quick on us. And the way I do that is the following. I look at what these auto UFOs are, where these auto UFOs are, and we see that the top one is actually at 2314.2. So I'm going to go ahead and move my stop to 2314.3, a tick above that UFO. That's how precise I want to be. Meaning on this trade, I'm willing to risk $250 because I have 1, 2, 3 UFOs working in my favor, along with the market climate down below. It's the third candle down out of typically 6. All right, so let's go ahead and move this guy to 250, right? And our T2, I'm just going to leave here for now until I'm able to discuss a little bit more about it. All right, so that's our very first trade that we're pulling for today. Now, we need to see where will our final exit be, right? We know where our safety target will be, right? Where it's going to be 1-to-1 basically, or rather, we're not going to lose any money. So essentially speaking, if the Russell actually goes down and pulls back up, right, we're going to not make money. We're not going to lose money. It's going to be a break even. Obviously, if you count commissions, you're going to lose a little bit of money. So if you want to, you can always, if it's really going against you, you can move it down and take to save that money. But that's, again, sometimes trades have come a tick away from a stop, only to reverse all the way down to T1 and then past it. So just bear that in mind. Breaking rules and getting inventive with your rules on the go is never a good thing. Now let's talk a little bit more about the final target, which we're actually going to blow this chart up on the 50 minutes time frame, and we're going to kind of squeeze this down and see where the nearest opposing UFO is. Right, so we went short, and we want to see where the first opposing UFO is, which is a green UFO. Right, when you're short, meaning red, you're going down to the greens. When you're long, greens, you're going up to the right, to the reds. So the first opposing UFO is actually down below here. Oops, I can't see it because of the chat. Take a look at this. The first opposing UFO is at 2304.9, right? Long ways away. 2304.9. I'm going to go ahead and click. I just realized this. No, this is good. 23. 04.9. If we don't just mistype that, we should be good. All right. And there we are. So that's the setup for the trade, right? We're expecting, should this go all the way down to, T2 today, right? We're expecting 345 plus 125, so 470, right? We're risking 250, right? So 1.8 risk to reward. If this is not good enough risk to reward for you, then, the trade's in a little bit of money right now. You can go ahead and exit and call it a day, right? I know a lot of traders have a rule that, if it's not 2-to-1 or 3-to-1, they don't take your trade, and that's completely fine. It's understandable, and it's not something that's not common. All right. How are you guys following along as I'm talking? I'm not seeing a whole lot of stuff in the chat. Can you just kind of give me an idea? Hey, we're looking good. Hey, moving a little too quick or too slow, or it's fine. Just let me know in the chat while I take a sip of water. All right. Let's see here. While this is loading, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of leave this develop a little bit. Obviously, it is before the open. If we get a nice push down, this will pop that T1 easily. So we'll be on the lookout for it. We still have a little bit of time. We got about 12 minutes before the open when things really start to shake up. Ideally speaking, I would like to have this T1 popped right before or right as it opens. Preferably, of course, being that we have it before it opens, but it doesn't always happen that way. Right? Ooh, wow, look at this. We got all these candidates here. We got, okay, so the Euro, the ES, and the NASDAQ are actually giving us the opposite signals, right? They're saying, you know what? It's time to look for long opportunities. Near sensible long, near sensible long, near sensible long across the board. And then gold is right on it right there, C.02 negative 0.01 on the ATR spread. So that one is actually not, it's just too close. So we're going to go ahead and skip on it. Let me just see here. Okay. I just realized that the Q&A, but I don't see any questions. So it looks like we're looking good. Let's go ahead and open up gold and see what gold's going to give us. Gold on the 15. And of course, the same type of setup, the same type of process can be applied to Forex, futures, pretty much any instrument out there. I don't know if we're on the Q still. August, yep. Okay, we're good on that. All right, let's go ahead and get that reset. Okay. All right, so for gold, we have a confirmed up climate. Price is currently in a red UFO, meaning it's in a UFO that still has some short orders left in it. But unfortunately, nothing nearby. Just gonna take a look at this a little closer. But nothing nearby on. Why is it not letting me reset my window? There it is. Yeah, nothing nearby as far as, where the moving average is, 1784.8, 1785.3. Now, something that does come to mind, and something that I think I mentioned previously, this is a very kind of a proactive sort of an indicator, the UFOs. They give us these unfilled orders. If price moves rapidly up, there's a good chance that it will create a UFO, meaning that some orders were not filled. So sometimes you can just stare at the screen and figure out, hey, once this red UFO on the 610 share bar pops, what if it turns into a green UFO and starts moving up, right? Should you just keep wait for it? I would say, you can definitely try that. I know I have. Didn't work out too well for me, but you just end up wasting a lot of time. So I'm just gonna go ahead and open up the ES just to see what it's doing right now, because it was giving us a mixed signal. Obviously, we're in a short trade, but the ES is giving us a long opportunity. It's always best if all the majors are giving you the same type of an indicator. But if they're not, and that's okay. I've actually been several times in a short, for example, on the Nasdaq versus a long on the S&P. And yes, they do move like 90 something percent together, but I've actually had my safety target popped on Nasdaq. I went for a long on the ES, and then boom, the ES actually stopped me out, whereas the Nasdaq kept making money because it kept falling down, and it kept falling down hard. All right, so it's not uncommon to do things like that, because sometimes even though these guys look like they move together at the same time, sometimes they just don't. They just don't move at the same speed, right? The Nasdaq tends to move quite a bit more than the ES. All right, so looking at the ES, kind of a similar setup from what we saw earlier. 4252 being the moving average. We don't have a UFO quite right there, right? That's 4252, and of course, price is only a tick away from that moving average. So it wouldn't surprise me if this did start falling down, and then it kept going, lower. Just before we actually take a look at that, let me just see what we're looking at for the news for today. That's something I should have checked with you guys a little bit earlier. All right. Continue to site, economic calendar. All right. Is this set for the right time? Let's go set it to Hawaiian. So in 5 minutes, we got a speech. So that's Bostic, so he's not going to, unless he says something, he blurts out something wrong. So we did have GDP annualized right on the money. Jobless claims came a bit higher. Okay, so some mixed news, some negative, some positive. So nothing too worrisome, but it's always good to kind of have an idea, because that'll typically kind of give you an idea of how the day might open up. Looking at our RTY, so okay, we're getting actually a push up. That's all right. We got 5 minutes to the open. The first UFO that gave us entry is actually now gone. As you see, those orders are now filled, which is why the UFO disappears. And the way you can know that is you just double click one of these UFOs, you can customize the study, and where it says hide hit UFOs, you're just going to set that to false, and then voila, there it is. All right. So that's just one way to know that, hey, there was a UFO there. It wasn't just my imagination, right? All right. Okay. That's all it is for now. We're going to go ahead and wait for the market to open up. In the meantime, I'm just going to go back to my climate window and take a look and see what's going on. So yeah, they're all pretty much in the same boat here. As you see, the ES, even gold and NASDAQ are pretty much in the same boat. Let me go ahead and open up the NASDAQ just in case there's something there that we're not seeing on the other ones. Sometimes the NASDAQ can give you those, pretty good swings. that, some of the other markets don't typically do. All right, we're all loaded up. So 14,346. This is 348. So this is right where it is right now. Yeah, not a whole lot happening there either. So yeah, I mean they're pretty much aligned right now. They're all three of them are kind of testing in the range right here, but nothing out of the ordinary happening. A little bit of slipping happening down on the Nasdaq, but we're about 2 minutes from the open. Would have been nice to see this kind of a the way it's pushing up right now. Would have been nice to see that to the downside if it were before it were to do that. But again, we can't control this stuff. This is trading, and sometimes you see this kind of movement right before the open. That's when you get your T1. But in this scenario, that's when you get your stop. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this screenshot here, just so I have it for me. Save that. 2021 and desktop and 0624. And this is the RTY 15-minute trade. All right. It did pop that UFO as well. This one will disappear as soon as this 2-minute trade stops. And let's see if we can get anything else on the way down. Oh, there we go. So see, I don't know why it was pulled all the way there, but the climate actually did change on this candle, on this next 15-minute candle. Okay, that's fine. That's on me. Wish I saw that earlier, but it is what it is. Sometimes you can't catch them all, right? As we're looking for trades, we need to be, kind of fully aware of the environment, and if that environment changes, we need to adjust accordingly. All right, we are going to have the open pretty quickly. All right, looks like they're all moving to the upside. A little bit weakness on the Nasdaq here. The ES popping a little bit higher. So there we are. We're off to the races. 52 is actually the moving average. 53. So right here, this UFO that just formed here is actually a valid one, 53.25. I'm going to go ahead and pull a trade on that one. 53.25. This is going to be a little less aggressive. So this is like that, and this is like that. I'm using this bottom UFO here. I'm sorry, I'm using the bottom of this UFO, 42.52, and 42.51.75 being our stop. Would like to see a quick fill on this one, and then a T1. And then we're going to see which way we should be going. Oops, why did this? There we are. Nothing above, clear skies above. This should actually be here. All right. Oh, I need to take this screenshot as well. That's our setup. Save that. 2021. 0624. And this is the ES 15-minute setup. Looks like it did pause there a little bit, which is nice to see. Now we just needed to kind of pop our way. Again, this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tick trade. And it's nice to see when these things work and it takes a pause right there in the UFO. That's what you're kind of expecting. It would have been nicer if it didn't pop to this T1 before, but again, the trade was there, the setup was there, and it made sense. So we went in. Let's see if we can get that T1. before it decides to take us out. All right, same thing kind of happening on the NQ. They're all kind of moving higher. There we go. We got our T1. Boom. Now we're into trade management mode. So what does that mean? Trade management mode means that we need to manage the trade, right? How do we manage that trade? Well, I'm going to explain it here as it happens in front of us. As of right now, we don't touch anything. We don't move anything. We don't, go anywhere with it. I'm just going to double check, but I'm pretty sure this is, yeah, there's nothing above. There's guys above. So we're going to go ahead and cancel this T2. If you have a number in your head that you just want to reach every day, you can go ahead and do that. You can go ahead and like move this T2 to it and say, okay, you know what? If I make this much money today, I'm happy with it. That's fine. I just happen to, be very specific with my trade plan, follow the rules to the T. So what I like to do is, what I'm going to do is, here we go. We have a new UFO that formed, 42.54.5. So we're going to go ahead and move that 42.54.5. So we're going to go ahead and move it right below, a tick below that newly formed UFO. And you may think to yourself, wow, it was up at 162 bucks up there. The UFO is already gone. But guess what? Now, instead of this trade being a one-to-one, or rather a potential break even, now it's a definite profit, right? We made that 125 earlier, plus that 50 now. We're good to go. And that was a very quick in and out right there at the open, 3 minutes after the open. So we got that together for us, and we're in and out. Sometimes those are the sweetest trades. Sometimes, we're off to the races. This just blows up to the upside, and you got a big smile on your face. Sometimes you get slapped a couple times, and then that's trading. If that's giving you any sort of, I would say, any sort of feelings. Now, I'm not just gonna say if that's frustrating you, or if that's making your stomach twist. Mainly because when I was, getting started with trading, it was doing that to me. I mean, and that wasn't that long ago either. If it's not, I would say, then maybe you're either a veteran trader, or you really just don't have a single care in the world about the money that you're putting on the table, which is a great feeling, honestly. If you can detach yourself from it, definitely do that. But most people, I would say, that we do care about the money we put on the table. It's just that if you can detach, happy and good feelings with wins, and negative and bad feelings, let's call them, with losses, it's going to get you very, very far with trading. Just think of it as, that this is like, for example, we're seeing this right now pull down, right? That was our entry, stopped us out on these wicks, and now it's moving to the low side. And if you're thinking, wow, I knew this was going to go down. Look at this. Watch it go down for another 100 points, right? You can certainly do that. You're just going to end up wasting your time, frustrating yourself, and kind of beating up your trading psychology. Yeah, you're going to think to yourself, yeah, I was right. It was just my entry that was wrong, or something like that. But instead of like that, just do what I just did. Just take a screenshot, put it there in your books, and say, okay, we'll analyze and see how things are going, right? And that's all you got to do. It's just follow your process. And if you don't have a process, or if you're just kind of in between a process, definitely feel free to email me. I'll be more than glad to share, the things that I do, the things, how I do them, and how we do them in the channel. That's completely free of charge, right? You're attending here. You're already in a community. You're already showing up. That's, believe me when I tell you, that's half the work. So, all right, let's see if we have anything else. All right, here we go. Here's the euro on the 15-minute. That's an instrument that you guys probably are very familiar with. Okay. All right, I gotta change the euro. You see Wait, it is on the U. What am I doing? Yeah, it's on the U. Right? Look at that. It's a ripping. And you want to know what the funny thing is? Sometimes I actually take these trades multiple times. Right? 42.53. Actually, I can't take this one. I thought I could, but I can't. See, 42. I'm just gonna tell you right now. 42.53.77 is obviously above 42.53 even. Let's call it, right? So you can't take this UFO as an entry UFO. All right. Let's go ahead and get these reset here. There we are. All right. Now, actually, I just realized I opened the wrong workspace because the EC was actually on the 60-minute time frame, not the 15. So we got to open up the 60-minute EC to let us know what's going on with it. Other than that, you guys have been kind of really, really quiet in the chat box and in the Q&A. So if you have any questions, any comments, please definitely type them in the chat. That's what we're here for. And then if you don't want to, maybe you're just getting started and you're just not sure, like I was. I was sometimes even too shy to ask a question. You should definitely email it. My email is right there as I shared it with you, right? boyan@traditive.com. So definitely feel free to send an email out, and I'll be more than glad to answer your question. So let's see, before we head out for the day, which, all right, so what do we have here? We have a sensible long, but there's really no UFO in sight. Sometimes what you can do is, not what you can do, but what you should do, honestly speaking, is, this number, the moving average exponential, the 9 EMA, it's almost hard to, not to laugh when you say, but it is a moving average, right? It moves as price moves. So what that means is sometimes you have to anticipate. For example, if it's a larger time frame chart like this, you say, hey, price is currently at 19,630, 19,635, right? The moving average is at 19,588. So what does that mean? Well, as price falls down, the moving average is going to fall down too, right? Now the question here is, will that moving average fall so far down that it gives us a valid entry down here, 19,560? Right? This is the beginning of this UFO here, where these unfilled orders are. Is it going to be able to give us an entry there? So based on how price moves and everything, there's a lot of factors to it, but the quickest one to kind of anticipate and assume is basically the one where you say, okay, if price were just to really just fall off a cliff right now and dive down, where is the moving average going to meet with that price, right? And is that meeting point going to be within this UFO, our potential entry UFO? As of right now, the answer, in my opinion, is no, right? If price falls down to 1955, let's call it, and it's at 66 right now, is it going to make the moving average also fall down from 1959 to 1955? My current answer, based on how price is moving, is no. So we're going to go ahead and skip on that, but you can certainly, set like an alert or something, just put a horizontal line there and just say, hey, when price gets to this, 19.5, let's just call it 70, right? About 3 ticks away or 4 ticks away from potential entry, let me know. I want to see, because sometimes, you get a little caught up, you're going into trades in and out, and you definitely don't want to miss a trade that you already spent some time on, because ultimately speaking, guys, time is what matters a lot. And if you're spending time and then missing trades, then you gotta figure out ways to spend that time a little smarter. Okay. So that's, oops, let's go ahead and get that back here. So that's where we are right now. Look at that. That would have went to our T1 probably, and then gotten us for a break even. So a lot of, see what I mean? A lot of movement on the RTY versus, for example, the ES, which just, just popped higher right now. So directionally, that's, good to see. That's a big, big UFO right there. That's definitely not a joke. 42.53 being the entry, 42.53 and a half. So this UFO would be still a valid UFO for entry down here. Of course, price is already 5 points away from there. That's okay. Gold's not giving us anything. Nasdaq's kind of doing the same thing. Now, usually Nasdaq will do what RTY did today. Essentially, move so fast that, you miss any sort of opportunity to get on. As you see right now, price, the moving average is at 14,355, and price is about 20 points away. Okay, I'm gonna take a sip of water. If you guys have any questions, let me know. We have a few more minutes left. There we go. Nasdaq's kind of falling down right now. This is why you don't chase price. You go in when your plan allows you to, and you stay out when it tells you to stay out. Take a look at the ES, doing the same thing, testing that out. All right, 42.53 even. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get in on this one. 42.54. This is a very, low risk trade. 53 even is my stop. So right there, 125. Very similar thing. 125. I just want to get in on some of this action because this UFO looked really promising to me. And as I said, like very low risk, 125. I do like these trades. Should be a quick T1, and then hopefully a retest. Oops, actually we can't do that. That's not according to the plan. The stop needs to be below this UFO 52.50. So the stop should have been actually here at 25. So we made a bit of a mistake there, guys. But again, we're in this trade. It's already close T1. It is what it is. I'm just gonna let the T2 just kind of stop me out, get me out of the trade. Because obviously, when I make mistakes, I make mistakes. It's okay. I just get out of it. It's all good. All right, and now we are at the end of the session too. So I'm gonna go ahead and close this out. Again, it's been my absolute pleasure to present this session for you. If you have any questions or comments, please send them to me at boyan@tradewithufos.com. As I said, this has been an absolute delight. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Take care. Bye-bye.